Welcome to the Explainer. If you think a helpful robot sidekick in your home is something straight out of a futuristic movie, well, you might want to check your calendar. Because as we're about to see, that future is arriving a whole lot sooner than you think.
For decades, the whole idea of a robot helper has felt like a moving target, right? It's been this classic sci-fi promise, always just a few years away. But that future never seemed to actually get here.
And I mean, if you look back, history is just littered with these near misses. We had those giant single-task arms in car factories way back in the 60s. Then came these impressive but kind of clunky prototypes like Honda's Osimo. And more recently, there have been commercial attempts that frankly just couldn't stick the landing and make it into our daily lives.
But what if I told you that that entire 60-year era of maybe someday is officially over? That the myth of the home robot being decades away has just been completely shattered?
Yeah, we're not talking about 2040 or even 2030. We're talking about 2026. This is the year that two major companies, 1X and Tesla, are actually scheduled to deliver their first bipedal humanoid robots directly to people's homes. This is not a concept. Pre-orders are happening right now.
So you got to ask the question, how in the world did we leap from decades away to add to cart almost overnight? What were the specific breakthroughs that finally cracked the code?
Well, the answer isn't one single magic bullet. Instead, it's the convergence of four key technological pillars. You can think of these as the essential breakthroughs that, when they came together, finally solved the most stubborn challenges that have held robotics back for years.
All right, so let's break these down. First up, you need an advanced body and the ability to move gracefully. You pair that with a multimodal AI brain to think and learn. Then, you absolutely need certified safety systems to operate around people. And finally, all of this comes together to allow for practical, real-world task execution. This is the recipe that turns a machine into a genuinely helpful companion.
So let's start with those first two pillars, the body and the brain. This is where we see this massive physical and mental leap forward. It's all about how these new robots move through, perceive, and interact with our messy, totally unpredictable world.
Now, what's fascinating here is the shared DNA between the two leading models. Whether it's 1X's NEO or Tesla's Optimus, they're built on really similar core principles. They both use these high-torque motors for an amazing combination of strength and precise control. And their hands, they have up to 22 degrees of freedom, which is just the number of ways a joint can move, plus tactile sensors, giving them a really human-like sense of touch.
And this is not just about walking from point A to point B. It's all run by this incredibly sophisticated system called whole-body control. Think of it like the robot cerebellum, constantly coordinating every single joint in real time. That's what lets it maintain perfect balance, even while it's doing something complex with its hands.
Okay, so let's talk about the brain behind the brawn. It's powered by something called a Vision Language Action Model, or VLA. This AI doesn't just see the world. It understands spoken language and intuitively connects our words to physical actions. And it learns by watching millions of hours of video and through trial and error in simulations, just constantly getting smarter over time.
So what this means is you can give it a really high-level command, like, hey, put the groceries away, or load the dishwasher. The VLA model then translates that simple request into the thousands of tiny, precise movements needed to actually get it done. And it does it all without a single line of new code.
Okay, so we've got a capable body and a smart brain. That brings us to pillars 3 and 4. And this is where we get into the really practical questions. How are these robots designed to be safe around our families? And what can they actually do to be helpful around the house?
With these robots, safety isn't just a feature. It is engineered into every single level. They're built to comply with really strict international standards for collaborative robots. They even have a separate Guardian AI whose only job is to constantly monitor for risks. The entire system is just designed from the ground up for safe coexistence with people.
Let's get specific for a second. The design limits their continuous contact force to less than 50 newtons. Now, that might sound like some random number, but it is incredibly important when we're talking about having one of these inside your home.
To put that number into perspective, it means the robot has the fine motor control to handle something as delicate as an egg without cracking it, but it still has the strength to carry up to 25 kilograms of your groceries. That's the sweet spot.
So what does this all add up to? A pretty impressive list of chores they can handle right out of the box. We're talking about those tedious, everyday tasks, folding laundry, cleaning the floors, helping with basic meal prep, even feeding your pets. And here's the crucial part. Their capabilities are not static.
Just like your smartphone, they are designed to get over-the-air software updates. This means the robot you buy on day one could have a dramatically expanded skill set a year later, with new abilities being added pretty much every week.
So when you bring these four pillars together, a nimble body, a smart brain, built-in safety, and practical utility, what you get is a truly pivotal moment. This is not just an upgrade. This is the fundamental shift that finally moves general-purpose robots out of the factory and into our living rooms. This is the true beginning of the humanoid era.
The arrival of these robots is going to create a massive ripple effect. I mean, think about it. Why would you buy a separate vacuum cleaner, a dishwasher, and a smart speaker when one device can do all of that and way more? This is going to challenge entire industries, from home appliances to personal care services.
Seriously, let's just think about that question for a moment. We are about to move from a world that is filled with single-purpose gadgets to one where a single general-purpose helper can perform dozens of different tasks. That's not just an improvement, that's a fundamental rewiring of how we run our homes.
And of course, this shift creates entirely new economic models. You might buy one outright, or maybe you'll subscribe to robot as a service. And behind the scenes, this is going to drive incredible growth in the supply chains for all the components that make them work, from the advanced AI chips to those high-torque motors.
So let's just be crystal clear. This is not a prototype in a lab or some slick concept video anymore. This is a technology that has been confined to science fiction for decades, becoming a real, tangible product that you can actually go and order.
The dawn of this humanoid era raises one final, really important question. And it's not for the engineers, it's for all of us. The technology is finally here. So the real question now is, are we ready for what comes next?